almost everyone will have heard of Aunt Middleton
Yeah.
that's watching or listening to this podcast.
Because she told you were going on a spa weekend.
She did,
Yeah, it turns out it wasn't a spa weekend, and within 2 hours you were running up what we called Crap Hat Hill.
Yeah, because for us comfort zones or BS excuses that we keep giving ourselves, we ain't got the money, we ain't got the time, I need to do this, I need to do that, I'm running a business, I can't step away from my business for 3 or 4 days.
Some people need a kick up the backside.
Yeah.
That's leadership. It's recognising what that person needs.
We have absolutely no idea what you guys do behind the scenes to keep us safe.
Yeah, we've got Arnhem next year where we're jumping out of planes and marching on Arnhem Bridge.
There they are now. If they want to progress in business and life, they've got to do things that other people aren't prepared to do. So as you can see, I'm sat in a little quirky cottage bang next door to Lake Coniston. And the reason why I'm sat here is because I've just completed my second Challenge the Wild event with Dan Searson, Aunt Middleton and Ben Gallagher, where we've been on an SAS training camp along with 30 Inner Circle and Growth Club members of the Trades Freedom Club. And when I said that I've met some heroes in the past, I sincerely mean it. Because some of the experiences, the skills and the leadership that we've been learning over this last 2 or 3 days is absolutely incredible. And the stories that these guys have told to keep us safe at home while fighting for king and country is remarkable. So I'm absolutely delighted to be speaking to Dan Searson. Dan, thanks for having me.
No, thank you. And thanks for the last couple of days. I hope your legs are feeling okay.
I'm absolutely battered.
Good, then we've done our job well.
2 hours, literally 2 hours ago, we're still out there.
You were indeed,
Scrambling, doing all sorts. So,
and we've got it all to do again tomorrow. So
you have with another group?
Yes, we have.
So I'm shattered, but I appreciate you giving me a time.
No, it's fantastic, and it's great to chat to you, and thank you again for bringing all these people to us.
Amazing. So Dan, just give us a brief introduction to who Dan is. Give us a bit of a background story, and in particular, how did you get into the military?
So I got brought up actually in Liverpool, despite not having the accent. And my grandfather was a soldier for 36 years. And when I was growing up, my father was a hospital doctor. He was left, right and centre. And I spent a lot of time with my grandfather. And he'd fought on D-Day, he'd been to Japan, he'd been to Korea, he'd been to the Suez, you name it, he'd been. And I was inspired. And at a very, very early age, I knew that was the career that I wanted to follow.
Amazing. So how did it all unfold then from your granddad's inspiration? What were the first move that you took to get actually into it?
Like a lot of people, Army cadets. And then I was very fortunate to get an Army scholarship at a young age. And sort of fast forward a couple of years, I went to university. I was advised to go to university in order to sort of develop my career, and I went to Sandhurst for a year and became an Army officer.
Amazing. So you started off as an Army officer then. So where did your career path actually take you? Give us some context to what you were doing, type of places you were deployed.
Well, I commissioned as a second lieutenant, which is the first rank that you go into. And very, very quickly after I'd sort of done my Special to Arms training, I decided that I wanted to join the Royal Army Medical Corps. They were recruiting infantry officers at the time. The reason that I wanted to join them was I was adamant that if I was going to do this, I was going to do it properly. And I was really keen to get deployed on operations as quickly as possible, something that the medics offered me. And true to their word, within a few months, I was out in Bosnia. Got promoted to lieutenant while I was out in Bosnia. And then time went on, became a captain. Deployed to the Kenyan-Somali border, deployed to Iraq twice, and then, went on and on and on. It was sort of later on in my military career that I decided that I needed to be a bit more at home. I had a young daughter, a young family, and I was away an awful lot, something that is great, but at the same time, I wanted to be around my family. I wanted to watch my daughter grow up. And I made the decision to transfer to a slightly different role and become a training officer. So I ended up in that training role based in Manchester, did that for a long time. But I trained people to go to Mali, to go to Iraq, to go to all sorts of different places. And then when COVID hit, and I sort of seem to have skipped over nearly 30 years very quickly, but when COVID hit, I was part of the team that was responsible for the humanitarian response in the Northwest. I'm very humbled, but I got awarded 2 commendations for my work.
Amazing.
And then in 2023, it was time to hang up those boots and that beret and move on to something new.
Okay. Obviously, I've had the pleasure of being on 2 of your SAS training camps.
Yeah.
And listening to some of, like Ben and Anne and the rest of your incredible team, listening to their stories about how difficult it is to make that transition from being, you're in the forces, this is how you run your life, it's extremely disciplined, to then coming out on Civvy Street. We know that there's a lot of people, a lot of veterans struggle with that. How did you cope with it?
I found it all right, if I'm honest. I had sort of prepared myself already because, I had lots of friends that had left before me, but I prepared myself in the right way for what I knew was going to come. The thing I think is incredibly important, not just with the military, but in life, is, don't go away from your identity. You're on a Special Forces adventure event. Ben and ex-Special Forces. I'm not, but I don't play that role. I play the role of the officer that, is the role that I played for nearly 30 years, issuing the orders, getting the back briefs, etc., etc. But I've always stayed true to that identity. And when I left, I did exactly the same. But the one thing I was adamant about, and I always give this a sort of a little bit of a smirk, but the one thing I was adamant about is, when I leave, I want to still work with vets because of the unique sense of humour and the camaraderie and the fun. Yep. But at the same time, I don't want to go and work in an office. So the natural next progression was to do something like this.
Right. So where did the idea come from then for Challenge the Wild? Where did you get the concept from, and how did you get it off at ground?
Well, you're going to laugh at this because you've actually been over the place where I wrote my first business plan today.
Really?
Yeah. So I've always been a hiker my entire life. Love it in the outdoors. I think it does my personal well-being the world of good. And Raven Crag that you were on yesterday. Yeah. I had heard about, sort of the crag and great views from the top, and I was ascending it. And that huge flat rock?
Yeah. Right on the top?
Right on the top.
Yeah.
I sat down with the view of the lake behind me and wrote my first business plan on top of that rock. That's genuinely true.
So how did you take that? Was the plan to do exactly what you're doing now, or has it diversified since you set it up?
No, I think every business has to evolve. In the early days, and I believe I did this the right way, I took it very slow. I learnt, I might be fantastic at organising events. I might be great at knowing and having knowledge of the outdoors, but I didn't have a knowledge of business. And it was something that I was very keen to learn, and I took my time. I learned how to sell. I learned what was important. I built my network up. One thing that is incredibly important. I learned about the financials behind businesses and how to operate. And we all make mistakes, but it's perseverance, it's hard work, it's constantly learning, it's constantly being educated. And it's constantly moving your business in the right way. Just because I thought something was right didn't mean it was right. It didn't mean that commercially it would sell. We are now I call it luck. I know it's a lot more than that. I know it's hard work. But we are now in a position where I firmly believe that we've got some of the very best instructors in the business.
Yeah.
We've got some of the very best event concepts in the business. And we work hard, not just previously, but we work hard day in, day out to constantly improve it, constantly evolve it, constantly identify different markets, different groups, different people that might enjoy it.
Yeah. So you set up Challenge the Wild then. So when did Anne get involved then?
So I met Ant actually on D-Day 80.
Okay.
So Ant was invited as a guest on D-Day 80. We featured on the One Show, actually. We were very lucky. We did a whole piece on the One Show about the expedition that we were delivering to mark the occasion. But Ant got invited as a guest. He was fantastic. He joined the team. He didn't just pop in. He walked the whole length of the coastline with us, which was fantastic. And we chatted. And Ant said, look, I love the event space. And one thing I'm really keen to do is make a difference to people's lives. And that's my value anyway. And, sort of clicked, and we thought, well, how can your background, what you've done on the telly, how can that sort of be introduced into an event that will change people's lives for the better?
Yeah. Do you know, it's interesting this, because obviously I'm guessing that almost everyone will have heard of Ant Middleton that's watching or listening to this podcast. But do you want to tell the story about how I ended up on your first training camp, or do you want me to tell it?
No, I'll tell it, because this is a cracker. This is a cracker. So the first time I actually met you, if you remember, you drove into our site in Coniston. Your daughter had brought you.
Yep.
You were there in the passenger seat, and one of my lads was on the gate, and you went, what the hell's this, to your daughter, because she told you were going on a spa weekend.
She did.
Yeah, it turns out it wasn't a spa weekend, and within 2 hours you were running up what we called Crap Hat Hill.
Yeah.
The best spa weekend you've ever had.
Yeah. Do you know what? It was unbelievable, that, because obviously, as you know, I'm massively into my personal development, and we'll touch on that shortly.
Yeah.
And obviously, I like Ant Middleton for what he stands for and what he's done. So, and I've always said, I'd love to do that essay, on old TVs or old telethings, which I'm sure almost everybody will have. So Emily said to me, what do you want to get? What do you want for your birthday? And I said, I don't need anything, just whatever.
Yeah.
And then she come and she went, oh, how about this? Come to a spa, dad and daughter spending some quality time together, for fair play. I had no idea what I was walking into.
Brilliant.
Absolutely no idea. So I rock up, sat down on them benches under the main tent, and then Ant Middleton walks in. I'm like, what's going off here?
Yeah.
But the thing is,
I guarantee you he wouldn't be doing a spa weekend.
Absolutely not. And I come with one pair of boots, one pair of trousers, one top, one jacket. And then we're into it, and I'm like, what on earth is this? It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And we got to, you pushed us all to us limits. We reached us full potential on that one. And then we're at the end of that one, weren't it? We enjoyed it that much. Everybody got so much value from it. That's when we started chatting about the one that we've just done over the last couple of days, weren't it? Yeah,
it was. And I'm always interested because, like I said previously, we're constantly striving to make things better and improve on everything. And what was it that you enjoyed so much? I feel like I've reversed the questions now, but what was it that you enjoyed so much? Was it the activity, because we did so much outdoor activity? Was it the fact that you got an opportunity to mix with such a diverse and they were all great, incredible group of people? Was it the fact that you felt like you'd really achieved something, or was it a combination of all of them?
Do you know what I'd say? It's a combination of all of them. I'd say number one, it's actually being pushed to do things that in life we know we should be doing.
Yeah.
But because for us comfort zones or BS excuses that we keep giving ourselves, we ain't got the money, we ain't got the time, I need to do this, I need to do that, I'm running a business, I can't step away from my business for 3 or 4 days. So for me, the first one was you pushed us, and I need pushing. I'm not one of these to sit on my backside, as everybody knows. I need pushing, and you pushed us. Yeah. To a point where, I'm not trying to paint the wrong picture of this, but I were broken. I weren't expecting it. I was expecting a spa, and then 2 or 3 days later, I feel broken. So I really enjoyed being pushed. I really enjoyed meeting the other people, total strangers.
Yeah.
There were 2 guys from Belgium. There were a lady from Canada. There were a lady from Ireland.
That's right, yeah.
They come from all over the world to be there. So just, being in tents with these people that I'd never even met before, just sharing stories and building, or we set up a WhatsApp group and we're all in that WhatsApp group. So the camaraderie side, if you like, the networking side were fantastic. But in all honesty, I think the thing that I took away from that first one is how ignorant that we are in our normal day-to-day lives, that we go around, we drop us kids off at school, we go to a 9 to 5 job, we come home, we watch Netflix, and all along behind the scenes, there are people like yourself and your team, Ben Gallagher, and himself, Ben and Ant spent all that time with us. It's like the stories that you share that we have absolutely no idea what you guys do behind the scenes to keep us safe. And I went home a little bit emotional, if I'm honest, because you don't get a concept for what people do. But on top of that, we've mentioned H, you spoke to today.
Yeah.
Some of the battles H has had.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're going to keep us safe. You're fighting battles that sometimes I don't believe should be our battles. And then you come back, and I almost feel, and maybe I'm right or wrong in this, but government then just like almost disowns some people. And it's like, it's the stories that they were telling about how they've had to shift their mindsets as veterans to change their lifestyle. So it were everything. It were amazing.
Brilliant.
Which is why we came back.
Yeah, and you've had it all again for the last couple of days.
Well, the thing is, this is the power in networking, and this is the power in having right values and standards. I put it out there end of last year to our inner circle members mainly, and I said, look, you've seen what I've done. It's from a mindset point of view, pushing yourself, resilience, challenging yourself. Why don't we, and this is where me, you and Ant had that conversation, why don't we put one on just for Trades Freedom Club?
Yeah.
And as you know, 30 of our members have been up and spent, best part of this week with you. And they've all left today broken, but so positive, so hyped up that they've been able to experience what you've provided.
Brilliant, and that's nice to hear. And I don't know, how often I've mentioned this to you, probably too many times, but I'm all about, Ant's all about, the team are all about, people come away, and if they can leave, even slightly, a better version of themselves, then we've done our job well. And that is ultimately the aim, the mission. Yeah. And just, chatting to the group that we've had over the last couple of days, little tiny takeaways. Do you know what? A lad said to me, do you know what? I needed that kick. He said, I'm unfit and I'm going to go back and I'm seriously going to get back and get myself on a good diet, get myself losing weight. Yeah. He was like, you've given me the kick that I need. Yeah. Then we've had other people that have turned around to me today and said, do you know what? I've been so stressed. I don't feel like I've given enough attention to the right things sometimes. He said, I'm going to reframe it now because you've shown me through the orders process, through the missions, you've shown me how to reframe things. And they're the little wins. They're the little wins that make such a difference to me and make me proud of what we do. Yeah.
Do you want to share a few activities and some of the experiences that we've had, some missions that we've had?
Yeah, well, I'll give the full breakdown, but the other important thing is, as you know, we change up little elements because we do get people that come back. It's important that even though the ethos is the same, it's important to offer different types of activity to provide different experiences. Yeah. So, for example, I know you jumped off a waterfall last year. Yep. You didn't do that this time. You did something a lot tougher.
We did throw ourselves out of boats.
Threw yourselves out of boats on the middle of Coniston Water. Yeah. So, but again, when you come next time, if you come next time, we'll reintroduce that type of activity. So it is sort of mixing it up. But there's two sides to it. There's obviously the sort of military side to it. We issued orders, we gave you military missions, lots of military mindset came into it, lots of sort of tasks that are military orientated, from setting up observation posts through to reconnaissance reports, military models. But all of that is dealt with, all of that is delivered's a better word, but all of that is delivered through the most amazing outdoor activity that we have here in the Lake District. Yeah. So, rock scrambling. Yeah. What a scramble, what a view when you get to a top. Yeah,
I'll tell you something, there were times like yesterday when we were on a stone and we're doing a bit of abseiling up. Yeah. But there were times where we weren't, and I'm like, flipping egg. I feel like I should be attached to something here. But again, it's pushing you outside your comfort zone.
It is, and if we didn't think it was safe, you wouldn't be doing that.
Absolutely,
You'd be on a rope. So, but the rock scrambling, then there was the abseiling into the quarry, the jumping off the cliffs and swimming across the water, the zip wire. Straight over a 150-foot quarry before another abseil and out 3 tunnels, all wrapped around the casualty evacuation scenario. You've been out on the water with one of our sponsors, WSS Rebel Ribs, very kindly provided those boats. You've been out, you've done some boat drills, you've done some open water swimming. It has been relentless. And then obviously, when some people leave their tents open and leave litter lying around, they get extra physical training. I did notice it was you.
We got beasted.
Yes, but everything is designed for a reason. And a lot of the guys picked up on it, but only when they'd finished. They said one of the days was very physical. It was. The other day was a lot more mentally challenging, overcoming fear, overcoming anxiety. And that was done for a reason, because it allows us to amplify that message across both days.
I think one of the messages that I picked up from Ben Gallagher today is, when I did this last year, the zip line across the quarry, I'm terrified of heights. So I'm sat on edge. What is it, 150 foot now? So I'm sat on edge looking down, and Paddy's going, just go on, just go. You're safe. Just go. And I was sat there for 5 minutes last time, and eventually I closed my eyes and I did it. But today, because I'd done it once before, and I knew what were coming, Paddy clicked me on, and he went, right, off you go. You've done it before. Bang, straight across. But what were interesting is what Ben was saying when we got back to the meeting point. And Ben was saying that it's all about resilience. The more you do it, and the more you fight your fears and you overcome them fears and step into that fear bubble, and then step out.
And that's what Ant calls it. It's your fear bubble. And the only way you're going to get through your fear bubble is to get inside it and get through it. Burst it from the inside. It's like resilience, as you've said. Resilience is key in this world that we live in today. And resilience doesn't just grow and happen overnight. Resilience needs to be built over time.
And that's exactly what Ben was saying today. You build it, you build it, you build it. And I could see that, because there were certain activities that I did last time where I was terrified.
100%.
Just my own personal fears. But then listening to what Ben was saying about the bubble and about resilience, it's like, game on, come on, just game on, let's do it.
So you've built up your resilience to that, and the next time if you come, you'll be straight off it. No fear.
I'll be an expert. I'll be like you boys next.
Well, you'll have a job soon.
But we need that, in business and life. We need that resilience, because it throws curveballs at us, doesn't it?
It does, and at the same time, I've always said, it's acceptable, to make certain mistakes or to have that fear. It's not acceptable, in the technical world if we make a mistake or some of your members make a mistake. That's not what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is that, we don't always achieve what we want to achieve on the first attempt. But rather than just go, can't do that, it's a step back. It's reassessing the situation. It's well, actually, I'm going to give it another go. That's the first step of resilience. That's the first step of bursting that bubble. I am going to try. You're committing to it. And if you can commit to it and you can get through it, you will build that and build that over time.
And you build a lot of your skills, leadership and learning on sort of like 6 pillars, don't you?
I do, and I use the great outdoors, as I like to call it, because it is wonderful. But I use outdoor, I use adventure as a tool, really, to sort of improve people. But every single event that we do, not just the one that you've attended the last couple of days, because we deliver a lot more than that. But every single thing that we do is sort of underpinned by these values that, we should improve people's mental well-being. We should improve people's physical well-being. We should build positive relationships. Everything should be inclusive to all. That's really, really important to me. We should create meaningful employment, whether that's a team and different people have roles within that team, or whether that's a corporate that we take away and giving people who don't have those senior positions the opportunity to shine. It's creating meaningful employment for people to be there. And then the final one is personal and collective safety. One of the things that we've seen regularly, particularly since, you know, some of the things that have happened in the last 5 or 6 years, a certain lockdown, for example,
Yep.
there's a lot of loneliness out there. There's a lot of people who aren't connected. And by creating collective safety, by creating those positive relationships, then we are creating personal safety off the back of it. Now, it's no coincidence that all those 6 pillars are linked. And they're linked deliberately because any one could feed into another one.
Yeah.
You know, positive relationship will improve mental well-being. Good mental well-being improves good physical well-being. They're all linked. And one thing that I will say, and I never say this enough, but the staff that work within Challenge the Wild on all of our events, they're not just here because they're technically brilliant, and they are technically brilliant. But they understand the ethos that I want to bring into the events, and they don't just accept it, they grow with it.
Yeah.
And that to me is so important, that I've created not just a product, not just a service, but I've created the best team I could to help do that with me.
Yeah. And I'm not just saying this, they are incredible, because every single one of us, you know, there've been 30 of us, we've all got different abilities.
Yeah.
We've all got different ages. You know, we've had some lads in their early 20s. You know, I'm oldest at 55. We've had everybody in between. We've had people that are fitter than others, bigger, smaller. You know, there's that much going off, but all your team seem to have got the ability and the skill and the leadership skill.
Yeah.
So no matter what that fear bubble is that they've got, and that could be some insecurities that they've got themselves as well.
Yeah.
They know how to get it out of them, to make sure that they get the activity done, because we all know that as soon as it's like today, you know, we were doing we have sailed down the main into the quarry.
Yep.
And then we stood on a rock, and then we've got to jump into freezing cold water. And we're stuck on top of this rock, and I'm thinking, I've already done this before. Why am I stood here?
Yeah.
Why am I studying now? And with the fear of, it's flipping freezing. Yesterday were cold enough in Coniston Lake.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's just like, do it. But then you've got Paul, who were helping us out, and he's going, Craig, just step into that bubble. What's wrong? And and I'm a leader. I'm a leader of these 30 people, and I'm the one that's bottling it. But just by talking and communicating to me in a style and a understanding that I felt comfortable with, I just did it.
Yeah, and I think one thing that we work really hard on is, and you talk about coaching, and you know you're interested in all of that, but I think there are leaders, managers, and then there are both. And one thing that I encourage everybody to do is be both. Anybody can manage a situation, but not everybody can lead one.
Yeah.
And for me, the skill to leadership, and I've led teams all around the world in conflicts and that sort of stuff, and I now lead this team. But the key for me is you can manage someone quite easily. We could have turned around to you and managed your fear, managed your anxiety, but to actually get you gone, to get you off that ledge, you have to lead. And some people, and you know that we've had such diverse people in your group today, some people need a kick up the backside.
Yeah.
That's leadership. It's recognizing what that person needs. Other people need a big cuddle.
Yeah.
So I've always taken that very seriously, and the staff and I talk about it quite a lot. It's being that leader and that manager, but being able to adapt, not just to the group, but to the individual, to get the best out of that individual.
Yeah.
And I've had it this afternoon while you were, hanging off ropes in Hodge Close. The group that I had out on the water, we had genuinely two individuals, I'm not going to name them, but we had 2 individuals ready to jump into that cold water. One said no, the other said no. One needed to be pushed off. The other just needed some encouragement. Yeah. But it's a skill to recognize that that's what they needed. And they both said That's what we needed.
Yeah, yeah.
Job done.
And really, when you think about it from a leadership point of view, who better to lead you in things like this than from you guys from a military background, many of them in SAS and all that lot. It's like the leadership and the precision and the detail that you must go into. Like we made the models when we've been and got on to top of that mountain. We have to come and make them models, but it's the leadership and the detail that I think we as normal people don't have, but you guys do have.
I think everybody has it in them, but I think particularly as an officer, so I did 12 months at the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, and I remember, and I look back now again and smile, but I remember going into Sandhurst, and I'm in a boiler suit all of a sudden. I'm thinking, hang on a minute, I'm meant to be developed into a leader, into an officer. Why am I in a boiler suit? Why am I running around getting ragged senseless? Why am I getting punished? Why am I on guard duty? Why am I crawling around at 4 o'clock in the morning in a load of mud? But then I realised why. Because as you progress through Sandhurst, and I'm only speaking from my personal experience, but as you progress through Sandhurst, as you progress through the various modules and the lessons, if you as a leader aren't prepared to do the things or haven't done the things that those that you lead do, then you're not the leader that you should be. Sandhurst's motto is serve to lead. That's what their motto is. And I would never, and I realised it really early on, that if I'm going to ask soldiers to do X, I need to be able to do X or do X with them. If I'm going to ask soldiers to do Y, I need to do it. And I do that now. You know that. You've seen that. The staff do that now. We would never say, jump off that waterfall if we weren't prepared to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And, we do. You were there when the staff go first.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Prove it can be done, cope with the water, and they feel what you feel.
Yeah, yeah. Amazing, amazing. So talk to us about your charitable side as well, because I know this is massively important to you and Challenge the Wild and all your team. From a charitable point of view and the mental health side as well.
Yeah.
It's important because in construction, in our industry, there are, this is not the exact number, but there are around 800 suicides a year just in construction, because it's a tough, hard-ass industry. Male dominated. I'm not saying it's got to be all male. I'm just saying it's a male dominated industry. And you know what men are like? They don't want to talk, do they?
No. So I'm very passionate about two things. Mental health in general, but specifically male mental health. I had my own mental health issues, during my military service. I'm not embarrassed to admit that. But I had the right support. I've been with my wife. Ironically, I've been with my wife my entire military career. So yeah, so why she stayed, I don't know, but she did, and no, she's an amazing woman, and I've always called her actually. She's the glue. She's the rock. I might have been running around, in deserts and running around in mountains, but she's kept the home. She's kept our family, and she's brought up our daughter incredibly well. Yeah. But within that, mental health is important. Male mental health, as you've just said, is a major, major issue. But at the same time, obviously with my background, we are incredibly passionate about supporting the veteran community, a lot of who are completely and utterly lost. The lost being lost, causes alcoholism, homelessness, suicide rates high. And then there is an organisation that we work really closely with called Healthier Heroes. Healthier Heroes, they're based head office in Burnley, but they've got other sites across the north of England at the moment, hopefully, because their model is so good, they'll expand. But Healthier Heroes take veterans who are homeless, have problems with alcohol, drugs, have been in the prison system, and they take them in. They theoretically save their life. They rehabilitate them. They get them ready for future employment. They rehouse them. Takes sometimes a 2-year process. But they do it, and the results are real. And I love supporting the likes of Healthier Heroes because I know the money that we raise, I know where it's going.
Yeah.
It's really important to me that, and that's nothing against the bigger charities, but I know that if I raise £30,000, I know exactly what that £30,000 is going to be spent on. Challenge the Wild, ironically, Craig, we've actually raised 3.5 million for charity through our events.
3.5 million?
3.5 million.
Wow. I mean, that is some figure, that, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't talk about it enough, but, 3.5 million through the events that we've delivered.
Yeah.
So yeah, Healthier Heroes, and jumping back to them. And then, of course, you've met one of my instructors, Howard.
Yeah.
H, as he likes to be called, ex-Royal Marine.
Top man.
Yeah, and it was only, and I think most of the group were a little bit staggered by this, but it was only when we were wrapping up doing the debrief that I introduced Howard as a former resident of Healthier Heroes, who 5 years ago I met, severe alcohol problems, just moved into the house after homelessness, and here he is 5 years later, and this is proof about the difference that organisation makes, rehabilitated, not touched a drop in years, got his own house, got his own employment, and he's coming and doing some sessional work with us.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have given him that opportunity, because I remember saying to him 5 years ago, sort yourself out, you can do this. You can do it. Work alongside that organisation. Take advantage in the right way, not the wrong way, of the opportunities that they're going to give you. And if you come out the back end, you can come and do some sessional work with me. And guess what? Here he is.
Yeah. It was great. I mean, it got to the bottom of zip wire today, and H were at the bottom, and he's getting all involved. You can just see joy in his face because he's doing what he loves.
Yeah, and I do provide lots of volunteering opportunities for that as well. They can't obviously, grab a rope and abseil you because they don't have the right technical quals. But getting people out to assist and support, it's good for them, and hopefully they can learn. I'll do as much volunteering as I can possibly do within our organisation.
Yeah. And just touching on your events then, Dan, because obviously we've done Challenge the Wild, what I call, the AMP Middleton SAS training camp.
Yeah.
But it's not just that you do, is it? There's a lot more you do beyond that. Do you want to share some events?
Yeah, it's so with ANT, we've got a great portfolio. We run something called the Special Forces Adventure, which is what you've been on.
Yeah.
It is based in the Lake District, although we are running one in Australia at the end of this year and America early next year.
Australia sounds tempting.
Oh, it's Blue Mountains outside Sydney.
It's with Sarah about that.
Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful. So the whole idea around the Special Forces Adventure was obviously everything we've talked about, pushing yourself out your comfort zone, but also, and I think this is really important, it's coaching. There's a lot of coaching. Yes, coaching might come through intense activity or an intense workout, but undeniably, there is lots of coaching. The difference between that and Middleton's Special Forces selection experience is vast.
Yeah.
That's 5 days of you getting put under an enormous amount of pressure, a bit like you would on selection and a bit like the TV show. Less of the coaching, more about being pushed. And then we also run, with ANT and without ANT, we also run a series of battlefield expeditions, which, I've been running these for ever since the beginning. Absolutely love them, probably because I've got an interest in military history as well. But this year, we're literally in a couple of weeks, we're off to D-Day. We're then going to the Somme for the 110th anniversary. We've got one coming up to Morocco later on in the year. We've got Arnhem next year, where we're jumping out of planes and marching on Arnhem Bridge. Back to D-Day again. We love them because unlike a lot of what we advertise battlefield tours where people jump on a coach and they visit all of the main monuments, what better way than to live it? What better way than to walk those beaches, see it from the eyes of those that were there 82 years ago this year? What better thing to do than walk the trench line? it creates that whole different experience. So we deliver all of those, and then we've got a couple of projects I can't talk about yet because it involves a couple of other, should I say, high-profile individuals. But it's very, very different to what we're doing with Ant. It is around the well-being space, but a lot more around well-being and bringing adventure into well-being. That's quite exciting, and isn't delivered in the UK, it's delivered in Spain. So that's quite exciting. And then we deliver a lot of bespoke events. So we've worked a lot with the radio stations, we've worked a lot with television. That's where a lot of the funds that we've raised for charity have come from. You're going to laugh, but I can go from this to a bloke that's on a pedalo down the Thames, to a bloke that's pushing a piano across London, to somebody that's canoeing the canals from one side of England to the other. It's crazy sometimes, but we love it. It's enjoyable, and we'll keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I think you're doing an incredible job.
Thanks.
You know, wrapping all them different skill sets together to appeal to anybody's ability. Is like it's just remarkable, honestly. All our lads who have left today are all blown away with experience that they've had. Just in starting to wrap, then, Dan. You know, like if I were to, anybody watching this now, if you were to give them any advice on comfort zones, pushing themselves, resilience, you know, and not just being where they are now. If they want to progress in business and life, they've got to do things that other people aren't prepared to do. If you could give them one bit of advice, what would you tell them to do?
I think the most important thing is you've got to take that step forward in anything. And I mean it in anything. You know, I had an idea, and I'm only speaking from my perspective, but I had an idea, sat on the top of that rock that you've been over today. Could I make a business out of this remarkable place that we're in Coniston? I've had a great career in the army. Fantastic. And no regrets. That's the other thing. You can't change the past. I've got no regrets whatsoever. Glad I did it. Yes, I might have missed out on a few things with my daughter, but I'm proud of my career. I cannot change it. I'm looking at it in a positive way. But everything is about taking that first step to me. My first step in transition from a long military career into the civilian world. My next step, first step, into business. Could I make it work? And then within the business, I'm constantly taking these first steps to move myself forward. I was 50 last week. I'm only just getting started.
Yeah.
I genuinely mean that. The day that I stop enjoying what I do is the minute I give it up. But knowing me, that won't be till I'm 95, because I just keep going and keep going and keep going. And I love everything about what I do.
Yeah. Do you know, it's interesting that, because one of my favourite quotes that I've ever heard that really resonates with me is Martin Luther King Jr. has got this quote that says, you don't have to see the full staircase, you just have to take the first step.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And people, again, it's a bit of reverse psychology, but why don't people take the first step? Is it fear? Fear of failure? Is it that they don't know how to? Who knows? But if you don't know how to, you can learn how to.
Yeah.
And if you don't fail, you're never going to succeed.
Yeah.
So it's always taking that step.
Yeah. Great advice. So if with the events that you're running, obviously we've come to you as businesses.
Yes, you have.
Right? But it's not just for businesses, is it? It can be just individuals who might have got a 9-to-5 job, whatever, retired people, young person. It's not just for businesses, is it? So anybody can get involved, can't they?
Yeah, and anybody can get involved. And as you've said, there are different types of events catered for different abilities. There are different events catered for people's different objectives. Yeah. You know, we get people that come to us and go, do you know what? I want to come out with Ant, and I want to, be thrashed up a mountain, and I want to do, that's brilliant, fantastic. But then you've got other people that go, well, actually, I need to improve my well-being, and I really need to focus on my own well-being in a much more gentle environment. Brilliant. That's what Spain will be for, but it's bringing in the adventurous element. I will always include the adventurous element in everything that we do because it's powerful. Really, really powerful. But, everything that we do, from, these types of events that you've been on with Ant, through to the battlefield expeditions, through to these new adventure retreats that we're introducing, they're all for individuals or groups to book onto. They're all on the website, dead easy. But then we do get charity groups that say, we want our own event, or we get a corporate that says we want our own event, either for our whole team or just for the leadership team. So, I think that's the other key takeaway when I'm talking to people who own businesses or want to own businesses, is you don't just have that one product, that one trick pony. We might have one event that we deliver 20 different ways to match the audience that's there. And do you know what? It's needed, because it's not, and I said it right at the beginning, so we've gone sort of a bit full circle. It's not what I think. It's what they want. It's what they need. It's what will benefit them the most. So we constantly change the event. And like I said, we're out on the next 2 days delivering something similar. But until I meet the group, until I know the group, until I know their abilities, we will switch it within half an hour of knowing them if we need to, so that they maximise their opportunity.
Always have a plan B.
And C and D.
Yeah. Well, listen, Dan, I want to say a massive thank you for helping me, and also allowing me, you just said, putting on bespoke, almost unique events just for Trades Freedom Club. I want to say a massive thank you. What I will do is I'll leave a link back to your website.
Thank you.
And the charity in the description of this episode. So if anybody wanted to reach out and contact you,
thank you,
they can do just that. But Dan, thanks ever so much.
No, and thank you for organising it and bringing them all to us. I really appreciate it.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
So listen, if you're watching or listening to my podcast on a regular basis, whether you're one of my Inner Circle or Growth Club members, or just part of our free Facebook group and community, you will know that I am constantly pushing myself, even at my age at 55-year-old, to become a better version of myself, and also bring that forward into my business. I would not sit here on camera now and recommend something that had not personally benefited me, or like I've experienced over this last couple of days, benefiting 30 of our members. So seriously, wherever you are right now in your business or your life, if you feel that you just need that extra bit of help or support, or to step outside your comfort zone and do something that's going to massively have a positive impact on your business and life, I absolutely ask you to click the link in the description of this episode and go and check out Dan's website, Challenge the Wild. Thanks for listening. I'll catch up with you on next week's episode.